December 1944. Picture this: a snowy, sleepy Ardennes forest, Allied soldiers enjoying a brief respite from the war's relentless grip. Suddenly, chaos. A surprise German offensive erupts, throwing the Allied forces into disarray. This, my friends, was the Battle of the Bulge, Hitler's desperate gamble to turn the tide of World War II. Imagine, if you will, a poker player down to their last chips, betting everything on a risky hand. That was Hitler in late 1944. But what, you might ask, led the Führer to make such a reckless wager? What colossal mistakes did Hitler make at the Battle of the Bulge? A battle that could have rewritten the ending of World War II. The stage was set for one of the war's most fascinating and tragic chapters. It's a story of ambition, miscalculation, and ultimately defeat. So buckle up, dear reader, as we delve into the thrilling tale of the Battle of the Bulge. Hitler's grand scheme, Operation Watch on the Rhine, aimed to split Allied lines with a fast offensive through the Ardennes. His goal was to capture Antwerp and force the Western Allies to negotiate peace. But the plan had major flaws. Surprise was unlikely. The Ardennes was lightly defended but not ignored. Hitler overestimated the Wehrmacht's strength. German forces were depleted, and fuel was scarce. Lastly, he relied on bad weather to ground Allied air power. But the weather turned against the Germans. One of the most glaring blunders of the Battle of the Bulge was Germany's chronic shortage of resources. Imagine an army setting out on a grand expedition with barely enough fuel to reach their destination. That was the predicament of the German forces. Their supply lines, stretched thin over the challenging terrain of the Ardennes, buckled under the strain. Fuel depots fell short, leaving tanks stranded, easy pickings for Allied air attacks. To add insult to injury, many German soldiers were ill-equipped for the harsh winter conditions. Their winter clothing supply was woefully inadequate, leading to frostbite and a decline in morale. It was a clear case of over-ambition meeting harsh reality. Section 4. Overestimating strength intelligence failures and the Ghost Division. Hitler overestimated the Wehrmacht's strength and assumed the Allies were demoralized. This miscalculation proved costly. The Allies, though initially caught off guard, were far from defeated. Their resolve solidified in the face of adversity. The Germans failed to anticipate the US 101st Airborne Division at Bastogne. This Ghost Division disrupted the German timetable. The Germans underestimated the Allies' speed in reinforcing and counterattacking. Generals like Patton and Montgomery swiftly deployed troops to exploit German vulnerabilities. The Germans, blinded by optimism, walked into a trap of their own making. Their intelligence failures had disastrous consequences. Section 5. The weather factor, how clear skies spelled disaster for the Luftwaffe. The weather, initially a boon for the Germans, soon turned against them. The heavy fog that had grounded Allied aircraft lifted, giving the Allies complete control of the skies. What was once an advantage for the Germans became their Achilles heel. With the skies clear, Allied air power reigned supreme. Fighter bombers like the P-47 Thunderbolt and the Hawker Typhoon roamed the battlefield at will, wreaking havoc on German armor and supply lines. The Luftwaffe, outnumbered and outmatched, was powerless to stop them. The lack of air cover exposed the folly of Hitler's plan. His tanks, stranded for lack of fuel, became sitting ducks for Allied pilots. The once mighty Wehrmacht was now vulnerable, exposed to the full might of the Allied air forces. The clear skies, a symbol of hope for the Allies, spelled disaster for the Germans. It was a turning point in the battle, shifting the advantage decisively in favor of the Allies. Section 6. Conclusion, a costly defeat, sealing Germany's fate. The Battle of the Bulge, Hitler's desperate gamble, ended in a costly defeat for Germany. It was a last-ditch effort, fraught with errors in judgment, planning, and execution. Instead of turning the tide of the war, it only hastened Germany's inevitable downfall. We've seen how Hitler's strategic blunders, from overestimating his own forces to underestimating the Allies' resolve, paved the way for defeat. The lack of resources, the intelligence failures, and the fickle nature of weather all conspired against the Germans. The Battle of the Bulge serves as a potent reminder of the perils of hubris and desperation in warfare. It's a tale of what happens when ambition trumps reason, when wishful thinking clouds strategic judgment, In the end, the Battle of the Bulge was a testament to the tenacity and fighting spirit of the Allied soldiers. They faced a formidable foe in adverse conditions and emerged victorious, securing their place in history as liberators of Europe.